Portland City Commissioner Rene Gonzalez is an attorney. He owned his own tech consulting company and founded United Portland, the city's largest youth soccer club. The Willamette University Law School graduate defeated incumbent Joanne Hardesty in a hotly contested race in November. He's Portland's Commissioner of Public Safety. Commissioner Rene Gonzalez, welcome back to Eye on Northwest Politics.
Thanks so much for having me, Ken.
You've been taking aim recently at the open drug use on Portland streets. Tell us what your ideas are and why you decided to come to this.
Yeah, so Portland residents are rightfully outraged by public consumption of meth and fentanyl. They're tired of breathing the fumes. They're tired of their children witnessing it on the streets of Portland. We hear that loud and clear at Portland City Government. So back in June, the mayor proposed an outdoor ban on hard drug use, on controlled substances. But because of a technical piece of Oregon state law, really an antiquated provision in state law, he had to pull it back. We're arguably preempted. I encouraged him a few weeks ago to reconsider that and that we bring it back with what's called a springing amendment, so that upon a change in state law, upon a declaration from a court of competent jurisdiction, that immediately the ban would come into place. And so basically it treats outdoor consumption of fentanyl and meth the same way as the outdoor consumption of alcohol. You face a fine, you can even face jail time in the city of Portland.
Well, the state legislature doesn't meet again until February, so does that mean that this initiative won't be able to take effect until they decide in February?
We still have the opportunity to go to a judge and see if we can get a declarative judgment, but the most likely scenario is that we're waiting for the state legislature and the special session. We still felt it was important to bring this forward now to clearly communicate to Portland residents. We see what's happening on our streets. We hear you. We understand the outrage. We are responding as your Portland city government. And at the same time, it's communicating nationwide. Portland is no longer the place to come and camp and do hard drugs on our streets. So the message is very, very important now, even if operationally it may not come into effect until the state legislature meets early next year.
Well, this is one of the emphasis from the Portland Central City Task Force, which was just formed recently. The mayor is part of that task force. What do you think about convening that task force to deal with problems immediately? And are you in favor of what they've done so far?
Well, I think the devil's going to be in the detail, but anytime the governor is meeting with business leaders in the city of Portland, I think that's a good thing. I think parts of our government have sort of forgotten what employers contribute, the economic impact, I mean, we are the economic engine of the state in many, many respects. That's the city of Portland, including downtown. So anytime elected officials in the state are interacting with our big employers, small employers, it is a good thing. What's going to come out of it, I don't know yet. You know, I think they're early in the process. There will be deeper engagement with city commissioners in the next phase. So looking forward to the details like everyone else on it.
We've got a daytime camping ban in Portland. Is it working? Is there any enforcement of this daytime camping ban yet?
So the mayor's plan is during the summer to educate and then to start enforcing in the fall. So I'm not sure we're seeing any real change in operations quite yet in terms of the time, place, manner. We continue to sweep camps as we were prior to the time, place, manner being implemented. So I think we're really going to see this fall. From my vantage point, I'd like us to start as soon as yesterday on the enforcement of this. I think it is that every day we delay is unfortunate, but I understand the goal here is to educate. The other thing to remind viewers, we are subject to a separate state law that limits how cities can enforce time, place, manner. So we have to check some boxes, dot some I's, otherwise we're going to get sued on how it's enforced. That state law actually gives attorney fees to plaintiffs' lawyers that sue the city. So it's an unfortunate part of state law that, again, encumbers our ability to address this issue. But I think that's part of the mayor's caution in enforcement. But I'm looking forward to that changing very soon.
You oversee Portland Street Response, which started under your predecessor, Joanne Hardesty, who you defeated in the last election. Should Portland Street Response be expanded?
Yeah, well, it's a great program. It's alleviating police calls on mental distress, particularly for our homeless population, although it's not necessarily limited to that. That's primarily where it's been responding. When we came in, we found some things that needed to mature in terms of its policies, procedure, and just infrastructure. It lacked a senior leader. We've put that in place. We had one change in mid-level, and then they were procuring things like drug kits and distributing tents and tarps that was objectionable to other parts of the Fire Bureau. So we have spent the last few months sort of stabilizing it, and I think it's in a good place right now. In terms of expansion, right now we are a couple hundred police officers short of where we want to be as a city. Given current volume, we need 2 additional fire stations in East Portland. Arguably, we need several dozen 911 dispatchers. And as a Commissioner of Public Safety, I'm looking at all of these demands on public safety. PSR is a good program. I support its expansion. But we still have to look at the competing demands on our limited city resources for public dollar investment. So I am supportive of expanding it, but I want us to weigh it against alternative important investments, including alleviating wait times in 911 and making sure that all Portland residents are getting medical responses to their emergencies.
There have been some issues in the past few months, and even before that, between the city of Portland and Multnomah County in terms of efforts to deal with these problems we're talking about right now. There was a critical audit of the Joint Office of Homeless Services, which is run by the county. What do you think of that relationship between you as the city and Multnomah County, and is it improving?
I think it's improving. It is a work in progress every single day. I deal with the county in public safety every single day in my job at the city of Portland. And that's everything for how we respond to medical. I'm about to go over to the circuit court. That comes out of some of the liaison responsibilities I have with the county and circuit court. I think it is a work in progress. The reality is city politics, the city commission form of government is highly responsive to voters. It just has a higher profile in a certain respect. So you've seen the city shift in some ways very quickly. It's not as fast enough as residents would like, but in how it's approaching issues like crime and homelessness. The county typically didn't have as high a profile, and you've just seen sort of a slower response, I think, to where voters are going. And so I think we're headed in the same direction, and there's a lot of energy and effort to get us all on the same page, but it is a constant work in progress.
Yeah, we've just got a couple minutes left here, but I want to talk about the Independent District Commission just finalized the 4 district boundaries for the new form of government that we're going to have. This takes effect in the November 2024 election. Recently, you and Commissioner Dan Ryan expressed some concerns about the way it's configured. What were those concerns, and have they been addressed?
So voters were told when it was put before them last year with the potential cost of charter reform implementation. And what we've seen throughout the summer and throughout the year is that those early estimates appear to widely understate the cost of charter reform implementation. So we looked at 3 things. One was related directly to the cost, is whether 12 is too many, and whether 8 would be a better sort of middle ground. Going from 5 to 8 is less expensive than going from 5 to 12. I don't think there's sufficient support in council to send that to voters right now. So I think that's notwithstanding the cost concerns that Dan and I had. I think all of council shares the cost concerns, but it's whether you send that back to voters at this point in time. The second was the lack of a mayoral veto that almost every type similar situated city government has. Our governor has a veto right, our president has a veto right. We believe that was an unfortunate omission in what was sent to voters last year. And unfortunately, voters weren't given the option to vote on pieces of it individually. We had several complex provisions changing all parts of our city government, really. And so I think that will go to voters next year, is just on the question of mayoral veto. So of the pieces, I think that's the one that we'll send back to voters and let them decide whether that's, if given the option, do they want that for Portland to be like almost every other city similarly situated.
And as we speak, the process is moving forward. Commissioner Rene Gonzalez, we appreciate you being here on Eye on Northwest Politics.
Well, thanks so much, Ken.